Got him.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, be sure to kick that like with a jaw. Punch that subscribe to visit ring that notification bell. Like the match has started, and today it is time for your AEW Dynamite results. The winners, the grades, and my reaction to what happened on April 22nd of AEW Dynamite. The tournament to crown the first TNT champion continued Wednesday night as Sammy G, I'm calling him Sammy G, whether you like it or not. I cannot pronounce his name. Sammy G battled familiar foe Darby Allin in one quarterfinal match in the brash, cocky, arrogant, super bad Kip Sabian squared off against the grizzled veteran Dustin Rhodes. For Dustin Rhodes, his match represented more than an opportunity to advance his career. It represented the opportunity to prove he still belonged. For the 51-year-old future Hall of Famer, a loss would bring about the conclusion of one of the most storied and decorated careers of his generation. A stipulation he placed on the contest of his own violation. I cannot say anything! Rhodes has vowed to hang up his boots if he lost to Sabian. Did he? Or did the face-painted phenom live to fight one more day? His sights set on one last championship to add to his resume? Find out with this recap of the April 22nd episode, which also featured one half of the AEW Tag Team Champions Kenny Omega in action. To kick us off, we got the TNT Championship Tournament quarterfinals match. Darby Allin versus Sammy G. Darby Allin defeated Sammy G at AEW Revolution, but the Spanish God had an opportunity to make up for that loss and cash his ticket to the semifinals of the TNT Championship Tournament as they rekindled their rivalry in the night opening contest. Sammy G wasted no time making good of his previous loss, attacking Allin with a dive before the bell, just as the face-painted opponent did in Baltimore. Sammy G beat Allin to ringside, setting up a ladder and laying him across it, scaling the top rope. The youngest member of the Inner Circle launched himself off with a big splash, driving his body weight into his opponent. The ringside trainer checked on both men heading into the break. Back from the break, the bell sounded and Sammy G resumed his beatdown on Allin. Can't say anything. The enigmatic anti-hero of AEW fought back, removing the Spanish God's boot and applying a reverse ankle lock while perched atop the ropes. On the mat, Allin reapplied the ankle lock, looking to force a submission, while Chris Jericho on commentary said that the approach, well, he admitted on the commentary team that the approach was not what he expected out of the babyface. Still, Sammy G fought out and remained on offense heading into the break. Back from the commercial, Allin exploded through the ropes with a tope, but Sammy G moved and the dynamic performer crashed into the barricade. In the ring, he delivered a 540 splash for a near fall as Allin had the wherewithal to grab the bottom rope and break the pin. Allin fought his way back into the match, countered a knee strike, and scored the win with the Last Supper. So as a result, Allin beat Sammy G. What do I grade this? I grade this a B+, because Allin and Sammy G have wicked chemistry. They are such creative performers that they come up with spots and ideas that others simply are not open-minded or carefree enough to attempt. The opening ladder shot was ridiculous and probably could have saved the show with actual fans in the attendance. But the ankle work from Allen was fantastic, and Sammy G repeatedly worrying about countering him ultimately proved his downfall by the way of the Last Supper. Either man could have won, but Allen is clearly the breakout star. Management is fully behind, and a date Cody in the semifinals will only help elevate this star moving forward. Though he lost, make no mistake about it, Sammy G will be warring with Allen for many years as they move into even more prominent roles in AEW, and we all benefit because of it. Moving on to the next. Broken Matt Hardy addresses Chris Jericho. Matt Hardy cut a promo in an undisclosed location, first under his broken persona, and then as himself. As regular old Matt, he reminded Chris Jericho of their history and gave an explanation for him backing the Elite in their war with the Inner Circle. From there, he told Jericho to send Sammy G if he wants, because he will kick his What do I grade this? I grade this a C+, because this was a reminder that Matt Hardy is perfectly fine promo without the over-the-top nonsense of the broken character. He was compelling and explained himself and put over the issues he has with the Inner Circle. He even set up a match with Sammy G that has zero backstory whatsoever and will likely result in their further delegitimation, however you say that, of the Spanish God. But at least it served the purpose. That is more than can be said for much of the Hardy stuff to this point. Moving on to the next one. Next we got Kenny Omega taking on Alan Angels. Kenny Omega, one half of the AEW Tag Team Champions, returned to action as he battled the largely unknown Alan Angels in singles competition. Omega out-wrestled Angels early, completely outclassing the young competitor. Angels escaped a Snapdragon suplex attempt, but succumbed to a series of hand chops. Omega fired off some forearms in the corner, punishing the overmatched opposition. Angels managed to down Omega and tried for a frog splash, but had to abort at the last second as the tag team champion moved out of the way. Omega lit him up with a V-trigger. But Angels kicked out, much to the chagrin of his much more established opponent. Two more V-triggers followed, and the confident Omega earned the victory. As a result, Kenny Omega defeated Angels. What do I grade this? I grade it a big, fat C. Because Chris Jericho called this a warm-up match on commentary, which it obviously was. And this went on way too long. With that in mind, sure, it was nice to see Omega let Angels get some offense in, and on the most important night of his professional life. But this dragged on. Omega should have put him down relatively quickly and moved on, especially considering his status as a champion and a top-ranked competitor in AEW. It was fine for what it is, even if it had no real consequence on the show or any ongoing storylines. Moving on to the next one. Next, we got Orange Cassidy versus Jimmy Havoc. Jimmy Havoc has zero patience for Orange Cassidy's shtick this week. Attacking the wildly popular Slacker before the bell and pummeling him around the ringside area. He dropped him with a big suplex on the floor and chopped him, rending his chest. Havoc continued to punish his opponent, trapping him in an armbar and manipulating the wrist and fingers of Cassidy, screamed in agony. Havoc tried for a discussed clothesline, but Cassidy ducked. igniting a babyface comeback. He delivered a big crossbody for 2, but Havoc regained control with a big thrust. Cassidy fought back, dropping him and delivering a lazy splash from the middle rope for another near fall. Penelope Ford inexplicably appeared on the ring apron, drawing the attention of Chuck Taylor and Trent at ringside. Kip Sabian flew from out of nowhere, laying the best friends out at ringside. This allowed Cassidy to catch Havoc off guard with a Crufix roll-up for the win. He won with a roll-up. After the match, Havoc and Sabian beat down Cassidy until Taylor and Trent made the save. As a result, Cassidy defeated Havoc. When I grade this, probably one of the worst of right. As of right now, I graded a C-. Why? Because where was the confident and sarcastic Cassidy that took Pac to the limit back at Revolution? This match felt more like a jobber getting beaten down by an established star than Kenny Omega's squash match earlier in the night. And that's not a positive. Nor was the sudden and unexplained relationship between Havoc and Sabian. Yes, they're both British, but there is no rhyme or reason to their partnership beyond that. Just because the commentary team mentions that they know they've become friends does not know the audience at home does. Yes, we know Sabian has a history with the best friends, dating back to last week's show. But this felt forced at the absolute best. Moving on to the next one. Next, Wardlow is in action. Wardlow returned to AEW Dynamite this week, beating the unknown Lee Johnson, battling him in what figured to be a one-sided match. A burst of energy and a big drop kick from Johnson proved unfortunate for the enhancement talent as Wardlow exploded on him, turning him inside out and tossing him around the squared circle with little regard. Wardlow finished him off in short order with a release airplane spin. So, as a result, Wardlow defeated Johnson. What do I grade this? I grade this an A+. An A+. That's the best match of the night, probably. Because this is awesome. This is awesome. This is awesome. Wardlow looked like a destructive force as he bowled over Johnson, completely manhandling him and putting him down for the count before the match overstayed its welcome. Who knows what his future looks like for MJF? Currently sidelined, but Wardlow is money if management can bring him along slowly and let him destroy opposition like this. Does he have the raw athleticism of Brock Lesnar? No, but this screamed Lesnar versus Spike 2002. Moving on to the next one. Next, we've got Mr. Brody Lee versus Justin Law. The excited one. Mr. Brody Lee celebrated another successful recruitment to the Dark Order by squaring off with Justin Law in singles competition. Scarily focused, Lee started Bass Law's physical person and into his soul. Lee punished Law, chopping away at his chest before flattening Law with consecutive suplexes. As the merciless beating continued, Lee locked eyes with Marcos Dunn, whom cameras picked up on repeatedly through the match. Lee ended Law's night with a discuss lariat, I cannot say, anyway, further away. So as a result, Lee defeated Law. What do I grade this? I grade this a B, because this was effective, but the idea of Lee being transitioned into a match with Mark stunned is not an appealing one. Even if you know that is where things are heading, The camera was on stunt too much, and the post-match stare-down was not an accident. We just watched Stunt get dismantled by Lance Archer. Setting him up for a similar fate only lessens the effect. Plus, shouldn't the long-anticipated Exalted One be doing something a little more important? Moving on to the next one. And finally, the main event! The TNT Championship Tournament quarterfinals match. Kip Sabian versus Dustin Rhodes. The weight of the world is on his shoulders. His career is at stake. Dustin Rhodes vowed to keep stepping as he battled Kip Sabian in the last quarterfinal round match of the TNT Championship Tournament match. Penelope Ford, as always, accompanied Sabian while Brandy Rhodes seconded Rhodes for the high-stakes main event. Rhodes caught Sabian off guard early, catching him with a drop-down uppercut, applying an arm bar. Super bad Kip Sabian. Super bad Kip Sabian recovered and delivered a straight kick for two as the match went to commercial break. Back from the timeout, Sabian targeted the left leg of his opponent. Rhodes survived the sustained offense of his opponent, fought back, and scored a 2 count off a roll-up. Sabian answered with a lariat for a near fall of his own, while Chris Jericho, on commentary, suggested Rhodes was on his way to defeat. Dustin fought back, delivered a clothesline and a bulldog that should have affected the injured knee, something Chris Jericho was quick to point out on commentary. Sabian again seized control, pounding away at Rhodes, only for referee Aubrey Edwards to forcibly pull him off. Brandy delivered a big spear to Ford that sent her to the floor, while Rhodes delivered the code red to score the win and advance to the next round of competition. As a result, Dustin Rhodes defeated Sabian to keep his career going. Now, to the grading. What do I grade this? I grade this a B- because technically this match was perfectly fine. The psychology was solid. Physicality was solid enough, even if the selling was a bit spotty late. But both Rhodes and Sabian told a strong story. The problem is it lacked a sense of urgency given the stipulations Rhodes put on the match. It was almost as if that was a shoehorned into the match after it had already been taped. There was very little drama and no real suggestion that might be Rhodes' last match outside of the work of Jericho and the great Tony Schiavone. Tony S. I'm calling him Tony S. I don't care if you like it or not. Tony S. at the announcing position. Had it featured and actually played up the idea that Sabian might actually retire Rhodes, it would have been a better match and a more engrossing viewing experience. As it is, it was a solid enough match that sets up a semifinal round rife with storyline potential. And that is all I have for you on the AEW review. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, be sure to click that like button and jump. Punch that subscribe and face over that notification bell like the match started. See you guys next time. Sawi. Good. See you guys next time.
Gentlemen, we got him.